To Be Hero X's finale has dropped, and holy shit, you guys see what I am seeing. Throughout the entire season, I have been waiting in anticipation for this episode to drop to finally see X in action. And oh boy, we for sure got that. This entire episode was just an eye spectacle for anyone who was fortunate enough to watch this series, because while yes, it's still definitely one of the most popular shows throughout the spring and summer season, it isn't talked about nearly enough online. Most talks of this show don't go past the circle of To Be Hero X from what I have seen, which is absolutely insane to me, as this is easily a contender for anime of the year. I know technically it's the Dongwa, but I mean, it's being produced, half produced, partially produced by Aniplex, so I mean, I guess it's not fully a Dongwa. You guys know what I mean by the statement that I just gave, man. It's a fucking amazing. Along with the episode's animation, direction, and choreography being all top notch, we also got a lot of lore drops about characters and teases about how X's powers actually work. However, with these reveals, only a mountain of questions resulted from it. How is Nice alive? Why is his face cracked? Was it a result of fear, or maybe it was a result of faking his death? Who is this girl in the opening of the next season? What's her relationship with X? What do the tarot cards, the Fool, the Chariot, the Devil, and the Wheel of Fortune tie into the story? Just a whole lot of questions that we as a community can only theorize. However, there are some things that definitely need to be cleared up about this final montage, because it seems like a lot of people are a bit misdirected by others' assumptions. So let's go through the montage and analyze this in its entirety. First and foremost, it goes through Rox's backstory, basically stating his utmost admiration for Zero throughout his entire life. We then see how FOMO and MG teamed up and how he actually ended up learning about Yang Chang. He sets up a coffee shop in order to manipulate Yang into becoming Azzoh, which is a whole callback to the entirety of the Azzoh arc. Once Rox acquired him as a puppet, he then seeks out Dragon Boy by promising him that he will turn him into Zero once they resurrect him, which we see Dragon Boy accept, which eventually leads to him killing Smile, resulting in Nice's psyche cracking, leading to the downward spiral that we saw in the show that was only amplified once Shang had no use for him anymore. It leads to him stepping away from the spotlight by faking his death. This part I'm still a bit iffy about, since even though we see Nice alive and well, he still has these cracks on his face which we don't know anything about. So for now, we can only assume that he did indeed fake his death. The touch with Lin Ling falling as well was amazing, since it ultimately represents how he lost his composure in episode 1 due to him constantly being berated by his boss and ultimately forced out the company due to his commercials being unable to produce the results that they were seeking. Following this, with the entire being kidnapped, then forced to act like Nice, the dude that you quite literally just saw off himself can definitely be way too much for a singular person. This is also the reason why I loved episode 1 so much, as it goes through multiple events almost comedically fast, and this is all to represent how Ling Ling is basically thrown into a hero world without any prior experience, with the events slowly starting to feel faster and faster. It wasn't until he met Moon that he finally got his feet on the ground and stabilized, only to see Moon be murdered right in front of him. The following part is also pretty important, and I do want to talk about, since it doesn't seem probable at all that Ghostblade was there when Azzoh killed Moon. There hasn't been any clear motive that would explain why Ghostblade would go out of his way to save either Moon or Ling Ling in this case, other than just straight up hating, which if that's the case, then shit, obviously I haven't been hating to my full potential. This motherfucker tracked down all of Azzoh's moves and went out of his way to pull up to this abandoned and secluded island in the middle of fucking nowhere just to deny Azzoh the satisfaction of a kill? Now that's D1 hating for sure. Or at least he tried to. I mean, Moon still very much died. Damn, Ghostblade, you ain't never beating those fraud allegations, huh? Anyways, back to what I was originally saying. I think it went over people's heads that this montage right here was a visual portrayal of how everyone and everything is connected by fate, as stated by X's monologue. This montage simply goes through the reasoning of each and every hero's actions / why they became heroes to begin with, just that they use seamless transitions in between each scene to indicate the never-ending flow of cause and effect that exists within the world. And I personally think that this was just a cool callback to the Ruins incident, as it was followed up by the background of the other character that was was present in the fight, that of course being Lil Johnny. Subsequently, the scene with Vortex versus Big Johnny is shown in order to display how Ghostblade's actions, him killing Lil Johnny's father, led to Big Johnny going on a rampage, leading to Vortex being severely injured by the incident and thus falling off of the X position, only to end up dying in a battle against Phobia Clone, the hero that had taken the X title away from him, resulting in everyone on the plane giving up hope that hero was coming and instead focused their trust and hope on a child that was on board, starting the birth of a new hero, Cyan, the lucky hero. This is followed by a sequence of how Cyan's eventually connected to Queen through Liu? I'm so bad with names, man. Queen's father, and how Queen inspired both Lolly and Cyan to realize their dreams. Lolly's dream of becoming hero and Cyan's wish to be free. All of this leading to X's interaction with Cyan. I think it should be noted that I have seen some people speculating that the origins of X's power was because of the coin that he gave Cyan back in episode 9, when I don't think that's the case at all, since in the trailer following the end of the episode, he awakens his power much earlier in his life while staring at a mirror. I'm assuming it's much earlier because if you see on this frame, X looks very young compared to the X that we know in the current timeline. Talking about the opening, let's talk about the opening. There's a lot shown, but there isn't really anything concrete that we can say about it. However, theories are at an all-time high. Though I will say some theories are very much just headcanon shit, and I don't hate it because it's so funny to read them. But going back to what we were saying, it can definitely be said that the next season will 100% be focused on X's backstory, while also highlighting some quote-unquote new characters. I say new in quotation mark because technically this isn't the first time we've seen this dude and this woman either, since in episode 12 they were briefly shown while the file that had all of X's confidential information was being cracked open by Mikey. And out of this screenshot, all we learn is that this dude's ability is the ability to create, which sounds fucking insane, but definitely an interesting power. I can't wait to see it for season 2. And that this girl has some sort of relationship with X. Maybe a long-term friend, who knows. I have seen some people theorize that the tarot cards that are pulled out of the deck in the opening represents X's journey as a hero, which, while that can very much be the case, is just as likely to not be the case. So I'll leave this one up to you guys to decide whether you think this theory is true or not. The ending of this opening is a huge fight with the entire cast, including Nice, which no longer has the cracks in his face, which was a bit off-putting to see, especially obviously because this was following the ending of episode 24 where we see him have cracks and then he just goes back to not having cracks. It's a bit off-putting. But then again, I think this part of the opening shouldn't be taken literally, but rather I see it as a way just to show off the heroes. It can also, this is my theory, that it can also be a metaphor on how Nice is essentially free now, since he is no longer being manipulated by everyone in his life and now has taken back control of his own life. But again, that's just my view on it. It's nothing concrete. I have also seen some people say that the lady at the end is Queen that got consumed by fear and turned into Zero because she has some resemblance to her. But then again, we saw that in episode 12 that this was a completely different character, and at the time Queen was also there analyzing the file with Mikey, so it's highly improbable that Queen is her. And then it ends by showing off Lil Johnny, Dragon Boy, Ahu, and what appears to be Ghostblade with X after a major battle. And just like that, we are finished with the first season of To Be Hero X and everything its finale had to offer. For me, this is easily one of the strongest contender for anime of the year. Yes, I know it's technically a downward, but whatever. We're not gonna go down that rabbit hole, okay? So just, yeah, I can't wait to see what season 2 has to offer in like 5 years or something. I don't know. They're probably gonna take a long ass time to produce the second season because it took around what, 6 or 7 years to produce the first season. But if it keeps the same quality that season 1 had, shit, take as much time as you need, my man. Let me know what you guys personally thought about the show as a whole and the finale as well, since one of the major things that I love about watching this show weekly was going through the multiple Reddit threads of theories and opinions. So I will for sure be going through your comments. Also, let me know if you guys would want a full review / analysis on the entire series as a whole, because I feel like I would be so down to do that, and also it would be very interesting, but that would be a very long video. So because there's a lot of content in To Be Hero X. But let me know if you guys are interested in that. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed my ramble session of the finale of this amazing and arguably, for how good it is, underrated show. Peace out. Love y'all.